Hi again, everybody. So, for this week, since Wednesday is Earth Day, you guys may or may not realize April 22nd is Earth Day, and that's the day that we celebrate all of the wonderful things that the earth gives to us, right? So many things: water and air and the sunlight that we are able to absorb through the Earth's atmosphere, beautiful flowers, cute little baby animals, right? There's so many things that are gifts from the earth. So I have a couple of stories, and some of you may have heard me read these stories before, but for some of you they'll be brand new. And each of the stories is about honoring and the gifts that the earth gives to us in different ways. So this story, Wangari's Trees of Peace, you'll see is about a woman who realizes how important all the trees are that we have on this planet Earth. And when she sees all the trees being cut down, she decides to do something about it. So let's find out what happens. This story takes place in Africa, which is one of the continents that we learned about a couple weeks ago. And this woman's name is Wangari Maathai. She says, "The earth was naked. For me, the mission was to try and cover it with green." Wangari lives under an umbrella of green trees in the shadow of Mount Kenya in Africa. So she's in the country of Kenya in Africa. She watches the birds in the forest where she and her mother go to gather firewood for cooking. And she helps harvest the sweet potatoes, sugar cane, and maize. Maize is another word for corn, from the rich soil. Wangari shines in school, and when she grows tall, like the trees in the forest, she wins a scholarship to study in America. So she leaves Kenya and comes across a big, huge ocean to study right here where we live in the United States. Thousands of trees have been cut down to make room for buildings, but no one planted new trees to take their place. Will all of Kenya become a desert, she wonders, as her tears fall? Wangari thinks about the barren land. I can begin to replace some of the lost trees here in my own backyard, one tree at a time. She starts by planting 9 seedlings. Watching seedlings take root gives Wangari the idea to plant more. To start a farm for baby trees, a nursery. In an open space, she plants row after row of the tiny trees. It all started with just a few little tiny seedlings. Next, Wangari convinces the village women that planting trees is a good thing. She gives each one a seedling. Our lives will be better when we have trees again. You'll see, we are planting the seeds of hope. The women spread out over the village, planting tiny seeds in long rows, like a green belt stretching over the land. The government men laugh. Women can't do this, they say. It takes trained foresters to plant trees. The women ignore their laughter and keep planting. Well, they're very brave and determined, aren't they? They don't give up. Wangari pays them a small amount for each seedling still living after 3 months. Their first earnings ever. Word travels like wind rustling through leaves about the green returning to Wangari's village. Soon other women in other villages and towns and cities in Kenya are planting long rows of seedlings too. But the cutting continues. Have you guys seen trees being cut down here, right? A lot of trees get cut down every day to make more buildings, right? But it's important that we don't cut down all of our trees. We need our trees. Our trees are very important for the ecosystem. Wangari stands tall as an oak to protect the old trees still remaining. We need a park more than we need an office tower, she says. The government men disagree. Wangari blocks their way, so they hit her with clubs. They call her a troublemaker and put her in jail. Oh my gosh. And still she stands tall. Right is right, even if you're alone. That reminds me a little bit of when we learned about Martin Luther King, right? He was put in jail too, wasn't he? But he didn't give up. He stood up for what was right. He made a lot of sacrifices for his cause. Wangari is not alone. Talk of trees spreads all over Africa like ripples in Lake Victoria. More women hear the talk and plant even more seedlings in longer and longer rows. The seedlings take root and grow tall until there are over 30 million trees where there were none. 30 million. You guys know how much 30 million is? It's a lot. Probably hard to imagine 30 million trees. The umbrella of green in Kenya returns. Women walk tall, their backs straight, for now they can gather firewood closer to home. The land is no longer barren. Sweet potatoes, sugarcane, and maize grow again in the rich red earth. The whole world hears of Wangari's trees and of her army of women who planted them. And that is the end of the story. So Wangari knew that trees were a precious gift that the earth gives to us, right? And when she saw them all being cut down, she realized she had to do something. And one tree at a time, right? She replanted millions of trees in Africa. So, trees may be something that you appreciate about our planet Earth. I know I love to look up at the trees and see the leaves blow in the wind. So I have one more story, and I'll record it in a separate recording so you can listen to them separately. But I want you to start thinking about, what are the gifts from Earth that you appreciate in particular? Do you really love the trees? Do you love a beautiful sunset? Okay, we'll see you in a little bit again.